Hi, Neil Bertrando here from RT Permaculture based in Reno, Nevada. And today I'm here to talk to you about low-tech erosion control techniques and simple and straightforward ways that you can apply them in the landscape. So today we're going to talk about a combination of techniques. One is called a Zuni bowl, and the other is called soil Crete sandbags. And soil Crete sandbags are used where you don't have access to rock or other materials that you might use to do low-tech erosion controls. So the first thing we're going to look at is what is a Zuni bowl. So we've built a Zuni bowl here in this location to slow down and concentrate the water that's coming from two drainages, two erosion features in the landscape. This one here and this one here. And actually there's kind of a third one right here that's coming in. And what the Zuni bowl is there to do is two things. One is it's to stabilize and stop the head cuts. There was previously a head cut in the location where this is built. And it's also to facilitate the change in direction of these two different drainage features in the landscape and allow them to take both a change in direction and merge and continue downstream through this confluence here. And the reason that it facilitates that is that it creates a pool in the center, and that splash pool where the drainages pour into the Zuni bowl as they come down dissipates the energy of the water and the directional energy in particular and allows them to change direction. So a Zuni bowl is often built where you have a head cut and water flowing over a poured edge like that. And you stabilize the head cut with rock and a splash pool. And then you create a higher rock and a splash apron to allow water to flow in. Whoops, wrong color. Flow in and splash in before it then flows out. And ideally, this also should be stabilized all the way up to the flat surface there. So that's kind of the idea behind the Zuni bowl. And here we've done it with the soil Crete sandbags. So these are burlap sandbags, non-treated burlap. So they don't have chemical treatment. Some burlap sandbags do. And burlap is made out of natural plant materials and fibers woven together and holds sand well. We have lots of sand on this site. This site is located on historic sandstone geology, and then that sandstone has eroded as the parent material and basically just left sand on site. So these are big sandy soil ridges and drainages with no rock to speak of, and if you dig down enough you may hit sandstone, but then that's also pretty brittle, pliable stone. So we have a lack of stone on the site, a lack of money to import stone, and also not great access, decent access. We could probably get a dump truck or at least a backhoe to bring buckets of rock here if the finances were available, but not great access, not money to purchase a stone, and a very proactive and excited volunteer labor force. So the energy is there to do structures if we can do some low cost structures. So that's why we chose to do soil Crete sandbags on this location. And so we just used the native sand and we mixed it basically 4 parts sand with 1 part Portland cement. So then we just had to bring in a couple of 50-pound bags of Portland cement and mix them with the sand that was on the site. So we just dug from areas on the site to fill the bags, and then we sculpted them and shaped them to make the Zuni bowl shape. And we did not do anything. If you have water available, you could pre-wet them, but we basically just left them there for the rainfall to wet and the flow of water to wet when it happens. So that's a little bit more risky, but it means we didn't have to cart water onto the site. And when we came back after the first rainfalls, they had hardened up. So I was pretty excited about that. So the thing that we've done here with the soilcrete is we've managed the confluence of these drainages with the Zuni bowl. We've also built a little bit of retention here with a couple of soilcrete bags to slow down this cutting in the landscape. This was previously a path that people would come down, and the water would has created a little bit of head cutting in a rill. And then we also built a soil berm here to starve this whole drainage of water and divert the water back to a previous channel that it was going in that was uphill from this treatment, so that we knew that this Zuni bowl was still going to be treating the flow of water. So again, water is coming down both these directions here, and we've taken any water that's concentrated on the path and diverted it off. So now this section of the path here that was eroding is only really getting runoff from a small little land area, because we've separated it with this berm. And then we built the Zuni bowl with the sandbags. Basically, we just filled them on site nearby and tamped them down and sculpted them in, and made sure that they tied into the edges of the landscape and really caught the flows of water and focused it down the center of the structure, so that it could pour into the pool here. This, during the flow of water, is where the pool is going to happen, and then it's going to spill over and go down here. And you can see that at the spillover, we have this splash apron that's pretty close to flush with the soil surface on the downhill side of the structure. So it steps it down and has an armored pour over.
Remarkable work, Neil. I love the innovation within this tool set, that if the materials aren't on site, and this is a great example where you don't have that material to create that armament within the Zuni bowl, you're finding solutions where you're taking the soil, putting it into a natural material with a little bit of Portland cement, and even the innovation of just letting it be, so that way the rain actually is part of the implementation of the system, so that way it'll harden up on its own and you come back and check and you monitor. This has a lot of innovative aspects to it. When you look at this project, the applications of going further or in other projects, did you take a lot away from that? Like, oh, we can basically do this anywhere. If we have rocks, if we have brush, if we don't, we can bring some pretty easy materials with us, and we can use material on site still, but maybe not in the way that you would have intended.
Yeah, it's fairly low cost. This technique of using the soil crete bags was recommended to me by one of my mentors, Craig Sponholtz, and he showed me some projects that he had done with them, and he said they're great because they're really easy to work with. You basically can make them whatever shape you want, so you don't have to have kind of the skill of stacking rocks. You just lay them on like bricks, one on top of another. So it really simplifies that part of the construction. So again, this was done with just a enthusiastic volunteer labor force with very wide range of backgrounds and skill sets. So this technique makes that part of it easier to do, and you can focus more on some of the other aspects of what you're trying to do. And the materials are fairly lightweight. The hardest and heaviest thing to bring in is the Portland cement, but again, you're using a fraction of that. 15 or 20% of your material in the sandbag is that Portland cement. So it gives you a lot of flexibility for how to approach these different erosion features in a landscape where you have maybe less natural resources on site to use.
Remarkable. And I think this is another great example of a simple tool in a toolbox that is, and I think what I'm getting from all of the work that you and Jeff Adams from Terra Sophia are showing is that there's actually a concept of this, of low-tech erosion controls, that's the big umbrella, and then there's all these tools underneath, and the application of them is specific to site and context. And I'm just so excited for the course that's coming up with you and Jeff, low-tech erosion control, because there's such an opportunity for folks who are in ranching or farmers or homesteaders, anybody who's dealing with erosion or drought or wildfire damage, to use these tools in a simple way and to build a lot of resiliency and regenerative ruin on their site. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking, yeah, I want to learn how to do that, Don't fear, the course is up. It's available for registration, regenerativeliving.online. Take a look at it. We are going to be running a live course here in early 2022, and the course will be available for purchase ongoing into the future. So if you're coming to this video years later, that course will still be available. Thanks so much for watching, and join us for the next video.